On today to talk about health and human design, the body, self-reflected consciousness, all the good stuff. Just waiting for Brandy to join.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how you feeling?
Good. How's everybody who's jumping on? Did anybody else have either trouble sleeping last night, trouble falling asleep, wake up in the middle of the night? I felt like the energy yesterday was or overnight was a little interesting.
Yeah, we both were kind of wired last night. Maybe we were just so excited for Martin.
Yeah, so as you guys are hopping on, let us know what your type is, your profile, anything you want to tell us about your design. We'd love to know who's joining us. Hello!
Hey,
Hello, hello.
Hello!
what's up, Martin?
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody was reaching out to us. They were so excited that you were coming on. They're like, oh my gosh, no way. Kind of a celebrity.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll wait a few. Hi, Jess, 4/6 Emotional Generator. Welcome. All right. Let's see here. Good morning, everybody who's jumping on. Here we go. All right, can you hear us?
I tried to do it with the headphones.
It's up to you. If you don't want to, you don't have to wear them.
No, it didn't work with the headphones, so
That's
let's
okay.
do it. It's okay.
That's all right.
Fine.
Dave says, I think this is the first coffee talk I've watched where I'm still drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have them at all different times of the day. Stephen, 4/1, single deaf emotional generator. Stephen, I'm going to slaughter that last name. Reboldo? All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know, we have Martin Grassinger on today. And would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your design, a little bit, whatever you want to let us know.
Yeah, my design. I'm a 4/6 emotional generator, cross of service, with both of my sons in 5818. So that's why I'm on planet Earth.
To make corrections and be of service.
Yeah, it was right from the start. I met Ra 30 years ago in private on the island of Ibiza, and during a vacation. And he introduced me to the human design system before it went out into the world. And we had our discussions, and we had, for the very first years, we had a very fruitful relationship, just because we come from different sides. I was working as a therapist and looking for something that helps me to individualize a person on the physical plane as well. And so I wasn't satisfied with astrology because there were not enough informations about the physical plane. And so it was obvious to me it was something that I could use, could be helpful. And according to my cross, and because I have not a single gate in the mystical path, in the four definitions. So Ra told me because of the two suns in my in the understanding circuit and in the correction, because I worked with all the systems which are available before, and I never was satisfied. It's just my nature not being satisfied. So, and therefore he said, okay, I should check the human design system if it's a structure and a system which is of service to the collective. And therefore, to me, it was obvious I have to check if it's of service to my work and to what I do. And in 1995, he encouraged me to do my very first health-related seminar. So out of my experiences and so on. And in this seminar, he was sitting amongst the students and listened. And we then worked on the crosses. And so it's just going step and step, going further. And I just developed my path, which is health related and related to the body. And yeah, as Ra very often, he said, yes, he said he's a mechanic and I'm a dynamic, and therefore it's different. And I have to just to teach to develop and to teach all of these topics he wasn't really interested in. He was interested in the mechanics, and it was important. He needed the time and the focus and all of this. And so, yeah, and that's what I'm doing since 30 years now.
Yeah.
So obviously you felt like the system was going to be of service, or else you wouldn't have kept going for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have gate 52 in your personality Earth, right? Is that correct? Yeah. So that's pretty cool how that ties in. Were you doing homeopathy prior to when you met Ra?
Yeah, I was teaching classical homeopathy, and I was trained in it. I taught it even at universities in Germany, and so I was always interested in doing working holistically and individually, and therefore to see, okay, what's in this sense, what's of service to my work, and then to see all the things I've done. I was teaching just to let people, just to share the experience with it, and then to reflect, and then to be in contact and to work together, even with the seminars. So because I was traveling a lot, even to the US as well as to Russia, and so it was very fruitful just to talk with the people, and then to see if they learn something, if they benefit from it. So in a sense to say, is it really helpful? Is it really true? And this was something that I just, I created a lot of seminars, health-related seminars, just to help people to have the knowledge how they can use the body graph for the therapeutical process as well, or situations. So, yeah.
Yeah, Teresa and I are very grateful that you that you began that journey. We're very, very passionate about the physical body and therapeutic modalities and taking care of our human being. We love the mechanics, as well. But it's very important because it's a real thing for everybody. That's kind of at the top of their mind, you know.
Yeah.
Usually when I meet with a client, they have a physical ailment. They have something going on that feels like it's physically holding them back. And so being able to get to that root of that is very refreshing, and being able to look at the body graph and kind of correlate all of that.
Yeah, and it was because I had a lot of talks with Ra before it went out into the world. We had a lot of time just to talk about the background and how it developed and how everything happened, and so the circumstances and there to see. The voice said, this is a system that's oriented towards the mind, because the eyes are the tools of the mind, and if the eyes can see, and therefore the voice said, I give you a graph so that you can see something, and then hopefully the mind can understand and gives the authority back to life. So, and the most important sentence to me was, the map is not the territory. Really to see, okay, and I'm coming from the territory looking at the map. And most other people, they look at the map and they try to refer it to the territory. And so because of this perspective, of course, I looked at it different. And then after a while, because there was this common thing, the splenic center is the immune system, and it is not, and the heart center is the heart, and it's not. And so, and therefore, it's easy to say no. And therefore, it was just important to say, okay, what's the immune system? It's a system. And where's the heart? And what is the heart center doing instead of? And so, and this was the development of my health-related courses. And doing it over and over again, it was getting more precise. And yeah, I still go on with it. And over time, so I came up with in a sense, new kind of seminars. I need to be creative. So it's not about just repetition. I did enough repetition. So, and in order to be creative, just to see, okay, what it's new to me as well. So I look at the body graph as a matrix of the brain, and therefore to see, okay, when we look at the brain, what's doing, how it's organized, and so on. And so these topics are fascinating me. And I get inspired by the body graph very often. It was right from the start. There was something looking at me. And it was, of course, because of classical homeopathy. According to the founder of classical homeopathy, we only have 3 major diseases. And he's right. And everything is just a combination of it and a change of it. But and therefore I started with the energy formats, because they give the precise description of these 3 different energies of diseases. And then working with clients and still working with classical homeopathy and doing the body graph for every client, if they ask for or not. So I was interested in, and just to look at it and learn. And it was also something I learned a lot, because in the beginning I wasn't able to do readings, of course. So, but I was able to draw the body graph. It was without a computer, just with first all the red gates and then the black gates and all of that stuff. So I learned the depth of it and the layers. And I had the privilege to listen to a client for an hour and to look at the body graph, not to tell him, but to listen to him. And after a while, when maybe there were several clients, they told me the same, and they had the same in the body graph, it told me something. And then I try to figure out, okay, how it's working, how do things belong together, and so on. And so most of the development was just by practice.
Wow.
So,
I love what you said
and
about listening.
it's still today. It's still today. I don't stop learning. It's still today. It's really, really great. And yes, as you mentioned, this is why it kept me for 30 years now. Because I always have the feeling when there's a wall and I want to make the next step, there's always a door I can open and see, wow, there's something else.
I love
As
that.
we did with the amino acids and this and that. Now I'm mainly focused on self-reflected consciousness, really to see how it works, because according to the voice, we are the only life form with self-reflected consciousness, and Ra never did a seminar on it. And so over the last years, I was very interested how it is working and how we can see it. And it changed the way I'm doing readings, I'm working with clients. It's more focused on self-reflected consciousness because we are here to experience ourselves.
How have
And
your readings changed over the years since you've implemented that?
in the beginning, it was the way it had to be, like in school, yeah. But then, according to my experience, even with health-related topics, with digestion, nutrition, all of that stuff. So, because it was getting more personal, and very often, or most of all, it was just that, and I do it up to date. I said, "What's your question? Why you are asking for reading just right now? There's always something on top." And there is a why you're asking for it, and maybe we can go deeper, and it's more oriented towards I say it, what I need is just to get the cup, and if the client gives me where I can get the cup, so I can get the body graph and to see, okay, because we have so many entries into it. And to say something about type and strategy, you can do it in a few sentences. To me, there's something more. So the type and authority, this is about making major decisions in your life. And this is, of course, we have to learn and to dive into it and to become it in a sense. So, but very often there are, in a sense, problems in the background which are ruling the life, and they cannot probably be solved just knowing your type and strategy and profile and this. So just to see what's the energy that drives you, even maybe in it can also be in the activations, and it can also be in all the open parts. Because 2/3 of our body graph is open. Yeah, we have 64 hexagrams and 26 can be activated. Mostly they are doubled. So most of them they are open, and we don't know what happened there. And then to see, to me the body graph or the reading, in a sense, it has to be of service for a problem. And to me, my major part when I started to work on the client, I want people to leave the room in a different way than they entered, in a better room. And therefore, so the readings changed into, it has to be for a purpose. And the purpose is not the reading.
Wow.
And otherwise, I wouldn't be satisfied. So I'm a generator. I need satisfaction. And it's it's unavoidable. If you do readings for several years, it becomes an art. It becomes your art. It becomes your way to do it. It's not about to be compared. We have to deliver the basics. That's true. But then everybody has a unique perspective, and there's a resonance why someone with a specific problem or intention whatsoever just get in contact to someone who is doing a reading with an individual perspective. Beside the type, strategy, profile, all of that stuff. So that's technical. It's good that they know it. So, but
Yeah, I learned very quickly that it wasn't about the information that I was giving the person. It was about like our frequency exchange and kind of knowing that we have something for each other in some way. You know, like
yeah,
there's some sort of exchange happening there. And I feel like early on I used to compare myself and be like, oh, I don't know as much as this person, but then I still had people coming to me. And so I just started kind of getting curious, like what's going on with this person? What is it here underneath the surface of
yeah,
talking about the body graph?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the universal law is 1 and 1 equals 3. And this is when someone comes to you, there is one part and you the other part, and together you create a third part.
Mm-hmm.
And the third part is always unique. And that's for me also the beauty and the freedom.
I love that. That's so refreshing. Mm. You know, as a fellow emotional, defined emotional, I also have the 659 as well. And what you were saying about creativity really resonates with me as far as like always wanting to have something new or something fresh, something creative in that way. And that's my only generated channel as well.
So just the shortcut is you are constantly pregnant and you want to give birth to new things.
Yes, always. It's insatiable.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like I go through a just like the pregnancy process with a creative project or whatever. I go through the 9 months, not 9 months always, but you know, the whole process and then the labor and the emotions that come with that and then the aftermath, and it's a whole cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a great duo. I have the 2750, so I want to like midwife it all.
Yeah, but on the other hand, when I look, it's also the way I teach. When you look at the gate or at the definition, you can refer it to the outer world, even the 5027. So, but to me, it's just, I say, okay, this is given into your hands, the Hispanic centers, so that you have a well-being in every single moment, according to your values, and you have to be aware of it. Therefore, write it down, be aware of it. What are your values? And the 27 is just take care for yourself, because your vitality is given into your hands as well. The custodianship is about your well-being in the now. It's about taking care of your regeneration, regenerate enough, and so on. And if you do it well and it's attractive to other people, you can make a decision if they ask you. So this is also something in terms of my work. So everything I see in the body graph, I refer to the body of this person, not to the outer world. This is the second step we can do, but it's not a society graph. It's a body graph of this person, and therefore there's the risk, or there can be the risk, even with this channel, that they're too much oriented being out to the outer world. And the 50th gate is the fear of responsibility, which is mostly feeling not being responsible enough for other people. And then they forgot about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
therefore
yeah.
to say, no, this is the 50th gate. I have two gates which are, to my experience as well, they are able to rule the entire chart, no matter how the rest looks like. And
Wow.
that's the 50th gate and the 21.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not living according to your values, the rest will not work. It should be.
Wow.
It's always out. But if you do, the rest will follow, because you're not in the overall well-being if you don't.
Yeah.
So the body gives you the signal, no, that's not according to my value, whatever it is. And also with taking care of yourself, to nurture yourself, your vitality, your creativity, your all of this. If you don't do this, no matter how the rest looks like, it's not that good. And then
Yeah.
you can follow your strategy and your type. It will not change. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really feel that as I've been going through my process.
Mm-hmm.
I also have the 21. I have 4521. But
Mm-hmm.
I've really noticed that shift in the frequency of myself and how my energy flows and how much better I feel when I'm not taking care of everybody else from a place of feeling responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with the control, it's the same. Just your
Mm-hmm.
body doesn't want to be under control.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's under control, no matter how the rest looks like, doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that the rest is not important. But there's a hierarchy
Mm-hmm.
to these. And the right thing, because the 21 is the gate of control, it means you have to let go control. Otherwise, the body cannot be in control.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And letting go of control, more.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Surrender. It's the
So,
sweetest yet the most difficult thing.
Whew, I
yeah,
feel
but it's
that.
biting through. It's biting through. It's not overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
can be a lifelong process.
Truly. Yeah, there was something that you said, I think it was on Amy and John's podcast about the 659 and how emotional intimacy with yourself is the most important thing. And that's something that I have really been learning the last couple of years, and how,
Mm-hmm.
in my 20s, it was more about wanting it in a romantic relationship, wanting the emotional intimacy, that connection with somebody else, and not giving that to myself at all, and not even knowing myself emotionally. So,
Yeah, we have to have it on the basis of what's our truth.
mhm.
And if that's not the case, we will have problems in relationships.
Yep. Yeah, my husband and I both have it. So I've really seen both of us start to, it's almost like it has to start with ourselves, and then we can bring things to each other. But we have to kind of come to a place of intimacy and clarity within ourselves before we can do that together.
Yeah.
Yeah. My son was conceived during a 59-6 transit.
And we think we're in control. Oh
I was
man.
I was curious one day, and I looked back and I was like, oh,
There we go.
no wonder he got through on birth control and everything.
Oh, I didn't know you were on birth control. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, oh, did you have a question, Teresa?
Oh, I was going to shift gears a little bit, not a lot,
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
Brandy and I are really passionate about sacral types and generators, and well, sacral types are generators. But I was wondering, as a generator and also somebody who has studied health in the body and well-being, is there something that you have learned about generators in regards to health? Is there, or even with your own journey and your own experience, like what I know it's highly individual, but if there is kind of an overarching theme that you've learned about generators and health.
Um, general, I'm very cautious with this. This is for this type and this type and this type. So what
Mm-hmm.
I've learned over the 30 years, every disease is available for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on how we deal with ourselves. The most important part when I teach, I said, if as a generator you don't regenerate enough, you end up with degenerative diseases when you're getting old, after decades.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a punishment, it's just a biological consequence. And therefore, the regeneration, it's also something during the day, because I live close to the sea here, and we have you call it ebbe and flood, so water is coming and going,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the same thing during the day for a generator. There is just the flood of creativity, and then it goes back.
Mm-hmm.
And if you went goes back, you want to be creative, you are frustrating yourself, and it costs vitality. So therefore, my recommendation is then if you just witness, so there's no creativity, do something mechanical. There's always something to do. That's not frustrating. And when you want to be creative, and maybe there's something mechanical to do, you can say, okay, I come to you later. Now I'm creative, and then it will go back. And just to be aware of this natural way of going inside,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore to be this the 515. Yeah, this is just to being in the flow with yourself, to be in tune with your natural rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even if you have the 515, you would say open. You have it. Yeah, it's not fixed to a specific aspect, but you have it. Otherwise, you would drop dead. So, of course, and therefore to see, okay, what's my rhythm? Not only in terms of um, I get up early, or I'm a night owl, or whatsoever. So these are basic rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
But during the day, there's also something, and to get more in contact with, because this is also a reaction to the environment. And if there's no creativity right now, so okay, it will come. It's also if you are in a creative mode and you force yourself to do something mechanical, it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
You give away the most valuable you have, your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
The same as you do something creative in a mechanical part. So, and therefore, just to see that the generators are most of the frustration is self-made, and therefore to pay attention to it even during the day. And this is something I over the last 10 years I pay more attention to prevention, not to health care when they have a problem,
Mm-hmm.
but more in terms of the prevention,
Mm-hmm.
what you can do,
Mm-hmm.
because it's no problem to get 100. So, but it's a problem. What's the quality when you are there? And if you want to make sure you have the best quality according to your system, so then let's see what's the best way to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even there's a difference. You can have a mental projector totally open, and you can have a projector just with 3 defined motors. And that's not the same life.
Oh, very different. Yeah.
Absolutely not. So, and but therefore, as well, to see what's the best way to deal with yourself, even for the for the psychic satisfaction or fulfillment, or you name it. So, and then again to say, okay, that's always something individual, because we are all different. And therefore there is no gate or no center or whatsoever which is related to a specific kind of disease or whatsoever.
Yeah.
Even the mind. So therefore the mind is a part of the brain. And if you would scan a brain while you are thinking, there are so many parts of the brain also active. And that's the same. I don't limit it to the Ajna center. This is a mental part we have within us to come to logical opinions or to collective ideas whatsoever. But that's not the way how the mind is working.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that the mind came up with this quote: first think and then speak. When you look at the body graph, there are only 3 roads lead to the throat. And the rest, 9 parts, come from below. So it's more natural, first speak and then think about it.
And that's where that like self-reflection comes in.
Yeah.
Like, what? And I've noticed that though, like definitely more over the last couple months, where I get curious about what I say, and I'm just flowing and in the moment and just letting things come out. And then it's like, oh, that's interesting that I said that.
Yeah, and very often when there are specific aspects in the Ajna Center, or just because all of these channels are projector channels, so very often I say it's not important what you think. It's much more important why you are thinking what you are thinking. Because you can easily think something different or the opposite. So why you are thinking this. And then it comes to self-reflected consciousness. Or when you, just now what we have the last 2 years with COVID and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can ask, who want me to believe this? This is what I want to know. And then I want to know why they want me to believe this. This is what I want to know. And this is the way how we can use our awareness, and not just to follow an opinion or an idea because of. And of course, there's always a reason. And then to see the body graph can turn and should turn into a tool. Okay, there is a preference for this way of thinking, but it doesn't force you to, in a sense, to follow just an opinion or with this idea or whatsoever, just to say, okay, it's an information. The mind gives an information. And the next thing, because it's not connected to the G. So you are not what you are thinking. You are not your mind. You have a mind. And the mind is a tool. And the mind is a tool of interpretation. Can never be objective. It's always subjective.
Yes. 100%. Wow. What do you think of everything that's going on right now in regards to the collective and health and...
It's the same, because this is my headline with everything. Even now what we have in Europe and all that stuff, and with Ukraine and so on, and to say I never believe what's in the television.
Mm-hmm.
No, I this is only one opinion, and then to see, okay, why this opinion, and why is there nothing that even in the smallest way, take a look on the other side, because there are always a motivation on the other side as well,
Mm-hmm.
and then to deal with it. So, and this is what I'm missing, and because they don't show it, they are only against.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's one of the reasons why I can't believe it to be the ultimate truth or whatsoever. So it's not. On the other hand, now we in this year, it was too obvious to me it will happen in 2022. We will have the basic mutation for new societies and politics and economics and all of that stuff. So this is this year. And mutation is something, it's unpredictable, it's unforeseen. We don't know what the trigger will be. We don't know. So we can maybe, when we look back, we say, oh, maybe it was because of this and that. But it's all the things that come together to a melting point. And yeah, we will experience it.
Wow.
And there will be people who want to restore the old way of living.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people, they want to create a new way of living.
Yep.
And we have to make a decision.
Mm. What's your perspective on 2027?
Very relaxed.
That's refreshing.
Yeah. Okay. If you just take a look when it will be in February 2027. So, okay. But when you look back, all the other areas we had in our history, so I call this, what this, about the last 400 years, I call it the era of the mind. So we had to be consciously aware and to name everything and all of that stuff. So when it started with this dream of this philosopher Descartes, I'm thinking, therefore I am. So it was just opening the door to it. And then it moves to. And now we just get into this era where the mind is just diminishing. We have it with Alzheimer and all of that, and multiple sclerosis, everything that diminished the capacity of this, and in order to open the emotional awareness. And this is
Mm.
something that has to take place genetically over generations. And therefore, as Ra always said, if you want to know how it will be, you have to come back. And, and he always said, I won't. You have to come back. I won't. So, and the mutation of the solar plex has 4 major stages, and they will take place generations of generations. It's not something, so now here we have it. And we will have the parallel world. And this will just, maybe it takes 100 years. Like when we look back, the development of the mind and the intellectual capacity and all of that stuff. So the peak of it was in the 19th century.
Mm.
Everything we have today is just a refinement of it, but the basics long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So even in physics and all of that stuff. So, and it will be the same. So we will just smoothly going into it, and because on the other hand, if it really would be overnight in 2027 like this, we can stop doing readings. Because we don't know how to do it.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
we could say, okay, let's have the last 5 years, and then we have to see what we are doing. It's and therefore I'm really relaxed, because mutation always is something we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the knowing, and unless it takes place, we don't know. And if we want to know, we have to be on the other side of the mutation. Mutation has 3 phases and 3 steps, and the manifestation of the mutation is you're going across the point of no return. And now we are living in the phase now where people they fear the point of no return,
Yeah.
and therefore they hold back, and therefore they want to just recreate the old world and not to change everything. So, and this will make it even harder to go to this point of no return, because this is something that's unavoidable. And then, of course, it needs a crash, because when you have the phoenix, the sleeping phoenix, and the awakening of the spirit, which means the phoenix just arises out of the ashes. And therefore we have to give the ashes so that the phoenix can arise out of the ashes. And we don't have the ashes.
Wow.
And the ashes will come.
I love that
It
analogy.
doesn't have to have this kind of war. It can be an economic, and there will be a big change. Russia and China together, China coming, all of that stuff. And we will have national states more and more, no unions, individual states with individual needs and individual and so on. And this is we have to learn. Just to learn that this is another way to live, and it doesn't have to be a bad way, because it's not the way we are used to. Maybe it's a better way. But that's the future.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, we are living in the now. There was always nothing but the now, and the future is construct.
Yep.
And even according to my design, I just take care of my overall well-being in the now.
Yes.
And I experience so many people, they are so driven away by their fear, which is not a fear, it's their mental anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what they have. So in there, and if this is taking place, so we know it from the way the brain is functioning, so that it goes very straight, and you can't even have a discussion with them.
Yep.
So in this, and yeah, it's also something I've learned over the last 2 years, because there are many people, it doesn't make sense to talk about health, about the immune system. So when we look back 200 years ago, before we discovered, in a sense, they are bacteria and viruses, and we get something we can blame them, yeah, because of them. So we are the victims. So, and then everything we put outside. It's the virus makes us sick, and the doctor has to make us healthy again. And the pharmaceutical industry has to provide us with the medicine, and the insurance has to pay it. So it's nothing my business. It's always outside, outside, outside. That's what we have in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, they were educated like this. And until 200 years ago, it was never about a bacteria or this and that. It was just about your self-healing capacity. It was about your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last 2 years in the German television, there was not a single thing about how you can strengthen your immune system.
Yep.
Yep. Same in the United States.
Yeah, and then I go back to why. Who want us to be focused on the only solution that's available.
And who's benefiting from that only solution available?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
this is, I think that's also, I had in the conversation with Amy and John, so that the single cell, when you look at the design of forms, the single cell has no place to house the personality crystal. And the voice said, therefore, the single cell has no consciousness in this way. And every single cell is an instrument for consciousness. Every single cell, because the body is built out of cells, and this is the instrument for consciousness, my body.
Mm.
And therefore, every virus, every bacteria is an instrument for consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but. And what this virus theory and all of that stuff, what it brought out over the last 2 years, to be consciously aware how people think, how, I don't know the English word, how limited they are in the way of thinking.
Yes. And even the lack of logic.
Yes.
like the whole wear a mask into a restaurant and then take it off as soon as you sit down because you're sitting down now. It's okay to have them. It just,
Yeah.
everywhere I go, I was questioning things like, why are we doing this? Why isn't anybody questioning it?
Yeah. It's yesterday I just got this quote from someone who said the stupid people are still the stupid people, the intelligent people are still the intelligent people, but now you recognize.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And yeah, but it's part of the development.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And no
Yeah.
matter what happens in the outside, it's always the question how we relate to it. If we join into it, so also the definition of freedom.
Yeah.
The definition of freedom just is mathematical. It's just freedom equals vaccination.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not related to health. Yeah, it's related to other topics. And nobody is thinking about it. And most of people in Germany, they get vaccinated because of their freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
same here.
Same in here.
And they are not willing to think about that they lose their freedom or already have lost their.
Well, and I was thinking about this when I was getting ready this morning. It just kind of came in as like, now we're not seeing it pushed as much. And I'm like, I wonder how the people how they feel who got it because they thought they were working towards something. And then all of a sudden, just overnight, oh, it's all gone. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And the long-term effects on their bodies that from a decision that they were making from some, outer authority and for their freedom.
Mm-hmm. And now they shift with the attention,
Yeah.
and the focus
Yep.
just to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so that's also a purpose.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've learned very early, if they put up very big in television and so on, just look where they want you to distract you.
Mm-hmm.
There's something because you can deal with it in a different way, and why not to deal with both?
Right.
But if there's already something that's just in this singularity, it's only this, and we know in the background now what's going on, that everything about the side effects, they come out, and all the numbers of this and that and this and that. So it's not a topic because the Russians are evil and trying to kill the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Never mind the 5,000 page document that they wanted to not release until we were all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put that under the rug. Nobody needs nothing to see here, folks.
Look over here.
Where are they trying to divert the attention? Mm-hmm.
So in this sense, it brings up the truth. In the beginning, I was sad, I was shocked about what's going on. And then I said, hey, that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I just refer, I think to the transits, now we have 3 planets in the 60th gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pluto.
And this
I was
is
gonna say.
acceptance. This is acceptance.
Mm.
Yeah.
Acceptance. It's hard to accept, but the truth is the truth. That's the way it is. That's the way people think. That's the way people behave. That's the way the media is working. Just look. That's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the 60 is the prerequisite for a mutation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the mutation. It's a prerequisite. What's right there now, that's a prerequisite because there's nothing else available. It's only what we have now. So that's what we have now. And we get to know something. How people behave, how people think. And it wasn't obvious because they had something to eat on television. Everything was fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can live into the illusion, very naive. Maybe they think a little bit similar like me. And then to see, no, no,
Nope.
no. Oh.
Well, even with, I mean, what is being shown to us as the way, like, here, look, keep your attention here. I've been watching a show that I have to watch on its through Hulu, and I have to have commercials because I won't pay the extra. And every single commercial is a pharmaceutical, and it's just wild. And I'm like, who names these? Open head questions. Who names these? But
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. And then they're even showing commercials that I'm noticing for pharmaceuticals for if you take another pharmaceutical and you have a side effect, here's this one that you take in conjunction with this one. And it like breaks my heart how far removed people are from trusting the wisdom of their bodies.
Yeah.
In so many ways. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and if this is the only information and it will be repeated, there's nothing else, and then they get it.
Yeah.
That's the repetition. So,
yeah.
And what they say, it's easy to fool people, but it's not easy to tell them they are fooled.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people are still struggling to accept even when the truth has come out now because they're so convinced.
You see, that's the way I teach it. When you look at the body graph and you see the 17th gate, the gate of opinion, is the following. So it follows. Yeah, and in terms of the acceptance, the definition is you follow what you are mentally accepted, and then you build out your opinion. This is what you have. And then it's a collective circuit, you share it with other people, and then you are confronted with different opinions. And I always say that the 17th gate has the same amino acid as the 38. And therefore, the opinion fights.
Yeah.
Fights. And the 38 is a gate of the possibility to kill. I want to kill your opinion. And if I can't kill your opinion, I can kill you. Okay.
Wow.
Whatsoever. And then you see understanding circuit immediately. The ego jumps in, the solar plexus jumps in, it's getting emotional. And that's the mechanic. That's the way how it works.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating. I love that connection.
Teresa
And for me to know
have
this,
38.
yeah, when I experience this, I I have two possibilities. One possibility is I just talk about what's now happening without naming 17 and 838, but just to talk about what's what's right now happening, and maybe it opens the horizon and we can have a discussion, or I just say, yeah, I don't want to fight with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if it's your opinion, it's your opinion.
That has been something I've needed to learn to say because I have a completely open ego, but I've gate 38 4 times in my chart. So I'm like, I have nothing to prove. We don't need to fight. This isn't worth fighting for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teresa and I both have channeled struggle.
Yep.
Yeah, it's but it's struggle for the positive.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, and we don't have to lose our sense of humor. That's most important.
Definitely
Yes.
not.
Yeah. Absolutely. Are you up for, do you have another question, Teresa?
Well, I was just going to ask if he wants to take some audience questions.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to pull some up. Have you worked with German New Medicine at all in your practices?
Yeah, it's I don't know about the time. It's decades ago I started with, because society here, specifically in Austria, they were working against him. And I bought the books because I was interested in his work, and I was absolutely fascinated by this perspective and to see with it. And yeah, I started to work with, and of course I was working as a classical homeopath. I tried to include all of these things. Um, I worked or I work. I just take a look if there's maybe something with a typical cancer and where it belongs to in the body, and so his reference, what he has, to me it's something that's very helpful.
Yeah, I just learned about it. Sammy, who's commenting, told me about it this year, and I started learning about it, and it just made sense to me because I've been working with the body in a frequency energetic capacity. I do energy
Mm.
medicine, and I've always been curious about how emotions impact us, and um, and just thinking about the body going through healing phases, and that pain
Mm.
and disease isn't always a bad thing, was a really cool reframe for me to just think about it as, oh, yes, this is my body communicating something to me, but it's also healing. It's doing
Mhm.
what it needs to do.
Yeah, there are basic laws of healing, and one of the basic laws of healing is no healing without reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore it's not a side effect of this, it's just a reaction. And another basic law is that healing only can take place if it goes back to the source and to clean it. So I compare it just to say, imagine there's a river and the water is dirty. So you can maybe put a cleaning building just right there where you live, but the dirt will remain until the source. So if you want to have real healing, you have to go back to the source.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that means that maybe there will be symptoms shown up you thought about, you get rid of them 20 years ago. But that's not the case. They are still there.
Mm.
Maybe some you don't know. And another basic law of healing is every chronic disease has to be turned into an acute one, otherwise it cannot be healed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so that's the acuteness. And I talk with my clients about this, mostly so that they are prepared. And then if they just experience, they know where it belongs to. And to see, because of the pharmaceutical industry, most people, they just think, okay, I just want the remedy or whatsoever, and then I get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then to say that that's not the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a chronic disease, like maybe now we come up with hay fever and so on, maybe now it is an acute state. So it doesn't have to be turned into acute state. It's already. And then the healing can take place and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not, if it's still chronic and maybe it's something chronic lying underneath, so it has to be brought back into the state of being acute.
Mm.
And this is also maybe a process that needs the vitality of the body, it needs the time for the body. And we are different. We cannot generalize these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see, okay, if someone just wants to go into this process, then we can try to go it, because I cannot promise. I can only work according to the laws and to support,
Mm.
to be of service in a sense. And this was also that I was looking for solutions which are individual, which classical homeopathy is all about. And 12 years ago, I got in contact with something that's able to reorganize your individuality according to your individuality. And this is much much more holistic than everything else I have known before. Because this is something we need. When I deal with a homeopathic remedy, I can only affect something that this substance is able to affect, but never everything. And this was my experience in the past. It was always this, and then this, and that, and so on. And even in my own biography and case. And with this solution, which I now have, there's something, I compare it with the conductor in front of the orchestra. So it's a higher intelligence which is able just to look into the score and to see how the composer wants this melody with this instrument, which is the orchestra with all the single cells, just so that it's in the right way. And it has the chance to say to one part, give a little bit more, at the same time to give a little bit less. And now you see, that's the way it was meant to be. You can call it the body graph or the DNA or whatsoever. So that's there. And it's very easy that we can get lost or we lose track. And it's not functioning in the right way. And with this, now I have the chance to say, okay, according to your individuality, it will be managed by your higher intelligence of your higher self. It goes back.
Mm.
And you have your true nature. And this is personal for me, in a sense, the right development. So I learned a lot about individuality in terms of classical homeopathy and in terms of mind, body, and soul. Always to see these three parts with the remedy and very high potencies, and then the human design system to learn about individuality in depth, really into the deeps, and then to get in contact with something that helps me, gives me the chance to help people to get back to their true nature, no matter of age. My mother is 95.
Wow.
And my grandchild is 5. So that, because it's about being. It's about being. And therefore to be as authentic as possible based on the physical reality. because this is what we have to deal with it.
Mm.
And out of this, there are a lot of things possible. And since then, to bring both parts together, the intellectual part, which I see the intellectual part, which is you know because of your body graph, and then the physical part, which is incarnation, it's the flesh, it's the vehicle, just to see, okay, now let's do something on the physical plane according to what we can intellectually understand as well.
Mhm.
So that's my personal, development.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's really great.
Do you use flower remedies in your practice too?
Yeah, mainly I work with what I just described, because this is something that's oriented towards the individuality of, can be a human being, can be an animal. So friends of mine, they are veterinarians, doctors, and they use it for them as well, because it's just another consciousness as another form.
Mm.
But it's also about consciousness, and they are consciously aware about themselves in a different way. Only the splenic centers, so they are really blessed because they are in the now.
Hmm.
And we have the problems, because most people are not in the now.
Mm. That's true.
So,
My gate 20 recognizes that.
yeah, that's being present. That's
Uh,
just, yeah,
that's
that's
something.
eye contact.
Yeah, that's something I would hear from people a lot. Like, you just feel like you're so present, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, of course I can get up here, but yeah, I feel that's a concept I can really understand, is just sitting here and being in the moment and really being absorbed in the moment. Mhm.
Yeah, the 20th gate is, according to the nervous system, it's related to the eyes.
Hmm.
And this is what you see now. You can turn it around and you can see this is what is looking at you now.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not a one-way street.
Hmm.
So you have in this sense, and this is just the 20th gate is in the now.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's the risk maybe of you, because very often you are more in the outside and not in the inside.
Hmm.
But you have the 659, so which means, okay, come from the inside and then look to the outside.
Hmm.
And if you want to have contact with yourself, just close your eyes immediately.
Mm.
And if you're just looking out constantly, you're losing the contact to yourself.
Mm. Totally. I love that advice. Mhm. Sacral noises from this live. Yes.
Someone commented the sacral noises coming from this live is amazing to witness.
They're very satisfied sacral sounds. Can you speak to how you view the COVID vaccine efficacy?
One more time, how I use
Can you speak to how you view the COVID vaccine efficacy?
The effectiveness.
devastating.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's my perspective, because the people who are coming to me, they have problems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the people coming to me, everything is fine, so whatsoever. And on the other hand, we don't know about the long-term problems. And it was immediately for me, if there's something because of this mRNA, and I know about retrovirus, because decades ago I had a lot to do with clients suffering from AIDS.
Mm.
And it's a retrovirus. It's the same. It can go into the cell and just to changes, and therefore, and this is something, no matter if it comes out of a laboratory or not, but something that's not natural. That's not the natural way. And then I was always interested, okay, where does it come from? Who want me to believe this is the solution? Who want me to believe it comes from a Chinese laboratory whatsoever or whatsoever? Just to say, no, that's not my business. And the only time I was vaccinated was when I was born, because when I was born, it was just in general, every baby got a vaccination against tuberculosis. And this was the only vaccination in my life, nothing since then.
Wow.
And I had all the child diseases. My daughter had all the child diseases. So, and we didn't extinct as humans because we didn't have vaccinations against measles and against this and that. Now it has to be. And of course, that's the pharmaceutical industry just saying, okay, antibiotics, that didn't work anymore. We cannot make any money. So let's invent something that we can make money on healthy people. Yeah, it's great. Let's vaccinate them. And the government is paying. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
And then we have just a booster. Maybe in the future they have to come twice a year.
It's
So
a never-ending cycle.
yeah, it's great. It's the best way to get money. Why only be limited to sick people? Open the horizon, make money with healthy people. You need the government, you need the laws, you need all of that stuff. So, okay.
Well, and
This is
with the 9 pages of side effects, they're probably creating lifelong customers in other ways.
And how many people die? And sports people.
Right.
It's horrible. And even what I wrote about this in the army, in the U.S. Army, they have their statistics, how many people. So what it changed since 2 years, and that's horrible. That's horrible. And there's a reason why it doesn't just set in the media. But basically, okay, and therefore that's my personal thing. I can't say I'm against vaccinations.
I
To
think
me
the
personally,
idea
yes.
is good. The concept is good.
To me personal, yes. But I don't make a religion out of it. Everybody has to know it.
Yeah.
And the basic part, because I work with psychological issues whatsoever. And what we have here is security. People want to have security.
Yep.
Physical security. And for most people, it's not rational. It's just irrational, something. And some people, they think they have security when they are vaccinated because they were told all of that stuff. So, and it's about security. And I had this over the decades because so many, the mother came with the child and said, okay, my child was vaccinated last Friday. Can you do anything against it with homeopathy? I said, why are you doing it? When you come, I should against. Yeah, the doctor said I have to do it, and I want to, and I'm not sure, and this and that, and so on. Or if they ask, okay, I want to. My child has to be vaccinated, and maybe can you give it something beforehand? And so, and then I ask, okay, why should your child be vaccinated? Because you fear that your child gets sick. And getting sick, it's a human right. It's not a problem. So it's a matter of treatment then and how to deal with it and all of that stuff. So, okay, but then I told the mother, okay, your child has to be vaccinated against your fear. Is it the right way? And then to say, Okay, if you can only get rid of your fear when your child is vaccinated, I think you have to do it because your child needs a mother who feels secure.
Mm-hmm.
That's the higher good.
Mm-hmm.
But then be aware you vaccinated your child against your fear.
Yep.
Or you do something, you decide to do something against your fear. And that's just a matter of information. And we don't get the information. When you look at the university, when they study medicine, when they learn measles, how to treat measles, vaccination. They don't learn how to treat measles. I've learned it. I had it myself. My daughter had it. We knew how to treat it and all the other child diseases as well. And it worked 1,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the change we have. And the pharmaceutical industry want to go, they already wanted to 10 years ago. They just talked about it. We have to go back, step back from what we have with pills and all of that stuff. We have to find something different. Vaccination could be a solution because the 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 substance of the vaccination is not the same as a medicine. Yeah, for the medicine, you have specific laws. You have to follow the laws. For the vaccination, you don't have the same laws. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore, it's easier to make money with vaccinations because you don't have the restriction of the laws. And so then when you look into the politics and all of that stuff and the development, it's no wonder it went this way. And there was this quote, the pharmaceutical industry isn't interested in healthy people, obviously. And the military complex is not interested in peace. Doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, the vaccination is the weapon against the virus, and we have to win the war against the virus and all of that stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like why is it always a war? Why are we always at war with something?
yeah.
Mm.
And then to see, okay, it's a question where how people deal with the information.
Mm-hmm.
And if the information which is available is something that's enough for them or not. And many people, they are just lazy and they are used to it. They did it for decades, sitting for the television, and then there come the news, and that's the truth. They never asked anything or questioning. It was just, yeah, because it was in television.
Mm.
They said we should.
Mm-hmm.
And this is homogenization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's this question, viruses are specters of the program. Yes. Do you see them as staying but mutating? They are constantly mutating.
Mm.
Viruses are constantly mutating. And there are a lot of viruses and bacteria in the world. We don't even know them. We know that we have a lot of bacteria which are several kilos in our body. Without them, we wouldn't be able to live. So it's always a question if this cell or this fraction of a cell is something that's supportive to our body or not. And then we come back, this needs the intelligence of the immune system to distinguish between self and non-self.
Mm-hmm.
And they are bacteria, they are supportive to our self. And they are bacteria, they are not supportive to our non-self. And then it's a question if the immune system is able to recognize it and to respond. These are the three aspects: recognize, respond, remember. And most immune systems, they don't recognize correctly. And therefore the response is accordingly, is not correct. And the response will always be remembered. And when they are in a similar situation, what the immune system is always doing, looking in the memory database, is this something we had already? What have we done? What was the response? Let's do it again. And then you have the chronic part. And the first thing is to distinguish between self, non-self. Now it's about 3 years ago, I was in a Congress of the Immune System in Orlando, and the chief of the scientific board came up with a slide, self, non-self recognition. And he shows how it works on the base of the cells with the T cells, how they are working. And he has no idea that the human design system exists. And he explains exactly on the cellular level how self, non-self recognition is functioning, what happens if it doesn't work the right way because the response is wrong and devastating maybe, and how to do it. And then to see, this is how I work, because they say there's the fourth R, and the first R is regulation. There's the question, who is regulating this? It needs a higher intelligence to deal with it. And there to see, okay, how to work with. And this is the regulation. This is what I call in this what I talked about, the conductor. Who's conducting the orchestra? And this is not possible by a vitamin, a mineral, or a plant whatsoever, because these substances, they give power to it, but they don't change it. Because you have a lack of this, and therefore you do it, but it doesn't change the mechanic in a sense. And there to see we are all different, and the individuality on the physical level is organized by the capacity, which means the intelligence to distinguish between self, non-self. Every single moment, every single moment. If you step out of the house, you are in a different environment. There are different substances around you, and your immune system has to recognize and to respond, to adapt. And this is something, in the meantime, with so many people, it didn't work in the right way. Because also, if you know everything about your body graph, it doesn't mean that it's functioning properly on your physical plane. You know your type, you know your strategy. It doesn't make people healthy automatically. Same with the PHS. So it's just some conditions about eating, but it tells nothing about your digestive system. And when I was traveling a lot, okay, not for the last 2 years, but it's still going on. I will be in Vienna in April, and so I'm very glad so that it's coming again. And so I met so many people who know everything about their design, but they are not healthy. They have their diabetes, they have their high blood pressure, they have their rheumatic disease, they have their allergies, they have their high oversensitivity whatsoever. And this is so that now, since 12 years, I'm happy that I can say, okay, let's do it. We can rearrange it. If it's losing track, you don't have to invent yourself new. You only have to come home. And it's the only, it's also it's the same thing when people ask me, okay, how you work with the body graph, and maybe you look for a disease and this and that. That's not possible. You don't find a disease in there, you don't find a therapy in there, you don't find a remedy in there. That's not because it's not the matrix of being sick,
Mm-hmm.
just simple. And therefore, then to say, my answer always does, to me, the body graph is the map to help someone coming back home when he get lost.
Mm.
Because I don't have to invent something new.
Mm-hmm.
Only just to say, hey, that's you, pay attention to this. And what we all experience, the people said, that feels good. I always thought I was wrong with this, I should this and that. Everybody knows it. We cannot tell something new. We put the focus on, we say different, and we relate it to something. So that's how we can make it as a tool. So when they get lost, try to bring them home. First of all, intellectual, but then to be able to do it physically as well. And because I have a lot of clients, they are not knowing about the design system, they are not interested whatsoever, and I can do the same on the physical plane. And I experience the other way. If I do it with someone on the physical plane, the conscious awareness of the physical system is enhanced and optimized to distinguish between self and non-self. And they start to live different. I know it from people that maybe just because over time, they said, yesterday I was asked this and this and that, and I heard myself saying, no. And I wonder, who? What, this me? I said, no.
Mm.
I'm a yes person. I always want to please people. Oh, yes, 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 but yes, okay, whatsoever. And now, all of a sudden, no. And it wasn't a problem for the other person. So it was just no. If it's authentic, then no. There's no discussion. No, it's no. It's a complete sentence. And then to see this is the wonder, what we are all about. Just to see we are in situations, circumstances, environment whatsoever, which are changing constantly, and we are physically navigating through it. And in every single moment, when you look at the now circuit is the knowing circuit, and this is the circuit with the most gates and definitions. This is the circuit who is synchronizing all the three fields of awareness at the same time. So this is in the now. And this is also what our immune system has to do, just to pay attention in the now.
Mm.
And this is something we cannot guide intellectually. It's good that we have the chance with the design system to step so deep even into the physical world. But it's not the promise that it automatically changes the physical world. In the meantime, there are several people that died of cancer, which were there in the beginning. We know each other from the beginning, from the start. They know everything, do everything. It doesn't mean automatically that it works on the physical plane.
Mm-hmm. There's no like magic beans, magic solution to anything, right? It's all.
Mm, yeah. In a sense, it can be. When you look at the knowing circuit is just, as we see, the keeper of the keys. So there's, if you get something to know because someone is saying something, and it makes just this beat, which is there, I got it. It can change everything.
Mm.
And this is what we know, we can have spontaneous healing. If the impulse is right, you can have spontaneous healing. If the impulse is right for the disease, you can from 1 second to the other, there's something. And if you step into a disease, It's just simple. Then you have something to know.
Hmm.
Because we are consciousness in a human form. And when the human form is just going, that's an information. And then to see, okay, what's telling me?
Hmm.
Let's see.
Wow.
So much wisdom.
Yes, that 6-line wisdom.
Oh, yeah, third
I'm
third stage, sixth line.
low on battery. I have to get a again.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm like, I could just listen to you talk all day.
I know. I'll be right back.
Okay. Just a little break to like simmer in the wisdom.
I hope it works.
I hope so too.
Yep.
You're good?
Yeah. I have to hold it. Okay.
Well,
That's
we'll wrap up soon. Um, it's just been so lovely hearing you speak and share, and just lovely. I feel like my nervous system has really relaxed just being in your presence and just listening to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I like this. I like this. What I like the most, and I do it also in the, of course, during the seminars, but mostly in the end, just question and answers,
Yeah.
just to see. And on the other hand, to me, I think that that's the best way to learn, because you might have an answer, a question somebody else hasn't. But it's an
Mm.
interesting question, and you can do something with the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be my favorite seminar without title.
Yeah.
Just ask me.
Yes.
Let's sit together for 2 days and just ask me.
That's what I love as well. And it's very present and in the moment instead of like
Yeah,
pre-planning things.
yeah.
And you can see
And
what.
then diving into life,
Mm-hmm.
not into the body graph, but okay, we can refer everything to the body graph, to
Mm-hmm.
aspects, to whatsoever, and so, and this is also something that can give us a deeper understanding of the body graph.
Yes.
And it's not only helpful to ourselves, it's also helpful if somebody asks for help and we have the knowledge and we can help them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. It's great. Martin, are you still taking one-on-one sessions? Do you still work with people in that capacity? Can people
Yeah.
find you? Where can people find you?
A friend of mine is just constructing a new website.
Okay.
I'm easily with WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger. I'm not that often on Facebook, but the messenger is on the cell phone,
Okay.
and or per email.
Email. Okay, great.
If someone writes me an email, please put something in the header where Human Design System is mentioned,
Okay.
because I have 200 in the spam folder every day,
Mm-hmm.
and so so that they don't get lost.
Okay. Are you teaching any courses coming up or trainings?
Yeah, there are several of my special seminars, even in English. They are available for download.
Okay.
I can send you the link, and the website, it's easy. It's Human Design System in one word. HumanDesignSystem.info. like information.info. This is for the German-speaking area. Then when you go to the website, to the shop, and you go to the English section, and in the end, they are my seminars, and I think this year I will do it in German. We also do it because I want to make my seminars available as videos, making with Zoom and so on. And therefore we decided, okay, every year I do one in German and then in English.
Cool.
And we think about to do race biology. We just thought about, we just were speaking about. Race biology is the capacity to look at your individual digestive system and then to individualize the PHS strategy. Because you can have in your digestive system something that's needed that's not in your PHS. It can also be contrary to it.
Oh.
And therefore, just to see it, how to individualize it, and yeah. But the basic seminars, they are available, and I think, and then I will do the seminar about the cardiovascular system, so digestive system, then cardiovascular system, and yeah, maybe once again the immune system. So just with the systems. But I think for 90%, I will do the seminar about self-reflected consciousness. That's the new one. Yeah,
I love it. Cool.
so these are the plans.
Yeah, we never know what can happen. These are the
Yeah, it came because of COVID. So I was working just exclusively via Zoom, and so and in the meantime, so many people, they like it, and even on the international plane, so it's easier, just because I have the 659. So this one-on-one is something that's very important to me. And then to sit with someone vis-a-vis, that's similar as being in my practice, to sit vis-a-vis. So there, and then to do something. And now what I've learned to, in a sense, to can call it to cure or to treat whatsoever with the conductor. So this is something that doesn't need me to be present. This is something about sharing information, know how to deal with it, how to do it, and stay in touch and to move through and so on. And this is already a little bit a mutation. Because in the beginning, the readings were recorded on cassettes. Then the reading was recorded on CDs. And now more and more people said, oh, it's nice with a CD, but I don't have a CD player anymore.
yeah.
So yeah, okay, send me the MP3 file. That's easy. And now with Zoom, I can say, okay, you can record it on your computer.
Yeah.
So,
Easy.
and they like it as well, because it's more than just only listening to it. You can look at the video if you want to, and there's also when you store it on your computer, you also have just the audio file. You can listen to it whatsoever. And I think, oh, that's great. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you have a digestive system course in English on your website right now?
I did it once in English, and it was done for the IHDS.
Okay.
and I don't know if it's still available. It was for a longer time. But I can say, okay, it was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't complete, and
Mm.
it wasn't correct in every time.
Hey,
So,
Teresa,
um,
I have
Mm-hmm.
to hop
yeah,
off. Inner space is blowing up my phone, so I have to
Okay.
hop off.
Okay. I'll close it up.
But before I hop off, Martin, thank you so much. My business that I own, they just keep calling and calling, so there must be something going on that I have to hop off for.
okay.
I really appreciate you coming on, and I will see
We
you
can
guys
easily
later.
meet again.
Yeah, we would love
Yes.
that.
Yeah, of course. I like it.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. And I'm glad you were able to accommodate us in this way.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share before we hop off?
Um, it's always the same. Even when I was asked, okay, what do you like to teach or what you want to teach?
Mm-hmm.
It's always I can say I have no idea. Yeah, it's so deep inside of me.
Yeah.
Ask me,
Yeah.
ask me everything, and so if no, I have no idea because then I had to go into my head. I'm
Mm-hmm.
open, and then to see what could I say now. Hopefully intelligent and this and that. And so no, no,
I love
it's such
it.
a relief. It's such a relief
Mm.
to really to be far away from it
Yeah.
and just more to, yeah, to have a conversation or to have questions and to answer the best I can right now. So
Truly. I appreciate that. It's really freeing to just release the mind in that way and just be present.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Martin. We really appreciate this, and we will definitely have you back on if you would oblige us. Seems like our
yeah, of
audience
course.
really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. So awesome. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Enjoy your day and see
Bye.
you
See you soon.
again.
Yes.
Yeah,
Bye.
great. Bye.